Hello and welcome to today's daily education here at Forex.Academy. My name is Robert Blackwell and I have the pleasure to walk you through today's daily educational video. Before we do so, please consult the following disclaimer. There is risk inherent trading the financial markets. And now the content of today's particular daily education, we will be discussing those price action charts, but really zooming in on smaller price action and looking to trade those 1 minute price action charts. So let's go straight into our JFX trading platform and observe some price action. Now what we can see is the MT4 trading platform in front with the daily price action. Okay, so those intraday traders, of course, those swing traders will be looking and more focused on this type of price action. And we'll move across the markets here. We have the dollar index, the euro, US dollar, the euro pound, which obviously the euro has made a strong move in many of these markets. Some technical analysis you can see previously on these charts. Let's zoom in then to look at something like this, because there is opportunity in actually trading this. Perhaps you are a short-term trader and you're more focused on actually developing pip gains over the course of the day, perhaps with the scalping trading methodology, as opposed to the overall structures of the market. I would assume, of course, you're still going to take that into account, but look at that opportunity presenting in the short term. So what I'm going to do is just take away my market watch there, just so we can have an overall observation level of trading this market in sight, okay, in full observation. Now we are currently looking at the daily price action, and you can tell by observing what you have selected here, okay, across these lines here. So we have 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, 4 hours, hourly price action, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, M5 for 5 minutes, and M1, which is what we're going to focus on here, is the minute price action, okay? So I'll just zoom in on this minute price action. It's going to break down what's happening over the course of this day in the last minutes of trading. So you can see this price action here across the chart. So we're going to look at short price action moves to look for profit opportunities. So perhaps what you can do, again, I'll just open up my terminal here at the bottom so you can see the profit and loss on account here. Perhaps we look to place a few short-term trades. Now what you can do is actually click this and drag this in so you can have an overall view of the chart to more price action as such. Okay, so you can see we've had a strong pullback, and what I'm going to do is simply make a trade here, just because I see in the very short term there's potentially 11 here to look to trade. So what I'll do is simply look to buy this market in the short term for potentially 10-15 pips. Now I'll go to my new order and I'll look to simply buy this market. I can see the ticker chart to the right hand side. I'm just looking to buy this market at a price with a 0.01 knot, just as close as to the level as I can get. And again, I'm paying the spread just to forego to get into this trade. Okay, so if that's the case, potentially I'm looking to change my stop loss. What I can do is simply click it and drag the stop loss to perhaps the last corrective low, and that will tell me my monetary exposure on the trade. So effectively, if I scroll over, it tells me, well, there's 0.92 pips here on this trade, so roughly around a 10 pip. I'll just move it to a 10 pip winner. Sorry, 10 pip loser. That's my stop loss. And then I'll look to see how this market trades just in the short term. I can zoom in on the price action, just on the candlesticks there. And I can see there's not too much movement now. Effectively, this is just my profit and loss here. I can highlight on chart what this is actually costing me during the course of the life of this trade, okay? And as the markets just tick up and down, you'll be able to see your actual open profit and loss on a particular trade. Now what you can do again is simply choose to, you can either right click and modify on the trade, or you can simply drag as well for your potential profit. I'm going to say, well, just in around these levels, it's not a positive risk reward in the trade, but perhaps if this market trades up, I'm looking to gather 5 pips here, just roughly under $1 for a winner there. So 64 cents just on the trade. Now again, this is very small trade size, just to show you over the course of some trading opportunity. Again, what you should be doing is, as a scalper in terms of trading 1 minute price action, is effectively trading with very small trade size. Now let's go across to a different market here. We're trading the euro pound, so we'll trade the US dollar against the Japanese yen. It's strong on the day. Sorry, that was the week. It's strong on the it's flat on the day. And is it trading at all during the course of the 5 minutes and 1 minute price action? Okay, it's just looking to trade up, and the trend is up to the upside, but we are at these nominal highs So what I'll do is actually look to have a short buy in this market here. Let me just observe this market for a second. I'm going to look to buy this market just to see if it breaks these new highs again. I'll go to my new order and I'll trade at market here, right at price. And effectively I'll look to place my stop loss again by dragging it below the last corrective low. It'll tell me how many pips I've exposed on the trade. And effectively 7.9 pips again. So if I want to move that again to the last corrective low, it can be in around the same. So roughly around 14.5 pips there on this market in question. Okay, so effectively watching this market trade up in the 1 minute price action, we're just looking for a bit of an explosive move to new highs again. We can look to perhaps I would say that's probably too much risk to have on the trade, and for 1 minute price action again $1.31. So I'm going to mitigate half the risk off that trade as the market looks to trade up and see where the market goes. Now that I can see, I'll go back to my first trade. We can see it did pull back from the resistance level, so that looks more supportive. And again, what I'll actually look to do is now that I've been confirmed on the trade, actually look to mitigate as much risk as possible on the trade, considering it looks like it's bouncing from such level. It is just pulling back in the very, very short term. We can see that there. But if I wanted to mitigate risk just to the level on the trade to make it a very, very tight trade like that, that effectively has changed the risk reward on the trade for a 50-cent loser. So okay, so we're looking for a small movement in terms of pips to the downside with 38 pips. And effectively, if I change this, we're looking for this sort of risk reward trade. So effectively, if the level breaks, it doesn't hold up, we'll get stopped out for a very small loser while the risk reward is positive on the trade. So let's see over the next few minutes, again 120 pips to the upside there. Let's see how this looks to trade. Moving back then to our second trade, it's the dollar against the Japanese yen, just looking to trade and roll over just at those points again. So we'll see how this market trades again, but you can see that we're not in any pressure. Now what I would like to suggest, guys, is that there's not a lot of volatility this time. It's 5:30 here in the UK. The cash markets have now closed, and there's not a lot of volatility in the forex markets, particularly at this moment in time. But this risk is good in terms of the risk reward on these trades. I'm not feeling overburdened. I'm just looking for maybe 20 pips, 30 pips here. And again, I can look to mitigate risk in the very, very short term. So I do need to be very active when applying this trading strategy. Perhaps I look at other markets as well. The equity markets are, of course, more expensive to trade. So I'll stick with my forex markets. I have 2 trading positions open at the moment, and they're just showing very little volatility. But again, you can see the setup here. I've mitigated risk off this trade, hoping for price action to move to the upside again. There's profit potential this way, but it's just flatlining at the moment with no real movement of price. You can see how that affects my P&L. Okay, so again, if I even choose to move my stop loss, just because there's not a lot of volatility up to here, or sorry, that's my risk reward. Effectively, it's still positive. I'm looking for 43 pip winner just up to that, which is effectively a very small winner, 57 cents. But the idea in terms of scalping 1 minute price charts is you are looking for momentum. You're looking to, when the markets are moving rapidly, and you're looking to get involved. So there's a quick movement of price in the short term. Again, you can keep your risk much, much tighter to look to profit over a plethora of perhaps a sample of 100 trades and get more active in the markets. Just taking advantage of the fluctuations, the constant fluctuations in currency markets again. And what I'll do here, just I suppose to demonstrate as to how to exit positions here now. I know they're not really in profit. This is in 3-cent profit. Just exit at price there. And again, this is just 3 cent, 5 cent to the downside. Again, I'll just exit. So I've taken 2 trades there and I've exited in a very short space of time. Effectively no real price movement, but you can see I'm trading and looking at the structures within the 1 minute price action chart. So that brings us to the end of today's daily education, focusing on trading 1 minute price action charts. Thank you very much for joining us here at Forex.Academy. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.